Hey guys, Lancer here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for joining me while looking at some more MTG market movers and also just the markets themselves. Now, before I lose too many people, I'll cover the MTG cards first. And I know we've done these recently, but I just want to make sure that everyone understands exactly how much these cards have dropped and really how much more reasonably priced they are now compared to what they were just a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago. I haven't seen Rudy make an updated video on this, but he has got to make one soon because, yeah, this is very different to what he was saying before. The markets look much weaker if you're going for collectibles and all that, but much stronger if you're going for like hard assets and I guess cash. So why is that happening? Interest rates in Australia, you can get 4.3% now from one of our banks, ING, which is insane. 4.3 risk free. You couldn't get that for a very long time. So it's good value to put some money into the bank nowadays. Rudy did talk about that. He did mention that you can get bonds and all that stuff, I bonds, for certain amounts of interest. And yeah, that's kind of pushing a lot of people that actually have money out of this market and playing it safe. But the fact that the prices have dropped so much is another topic that I think he has to mention at some point as well. A moderately played Badlands coming in at $361. Not too bad. There's some better deals in here. Bayou, I think I saw one. Lightly played 404, near mint 454, pretty damn good. Another Bayou. Oops, selected that twice. What's this one? Plateau. A lightly played for $303. Near mint for 400. Not bad at all. Look at the Savannah just drop off the last couple of weeks. Lightly played for $311. These are starting to get to the prices that I was buying them in the middle of 2020. I think they're still just slightly above, but we're talking about a couple of percentages at this point, and I'm in Australia. The only thing I can think of is I might have gotten a better rate because at that time the Australian currency was actually pretty strong to the US. But yeah, actually, I think that's the only advantage I would have had is probably I might have gained an extra 20% because I was buying when our currency was sitting around about 70 or 80, and then the USD was sitting around about, I don't know, whatever. Well, that was about 22% gain. So not too bad. But I don't know if I can get that deal again. Just because these prices look good to me, they're actually not. They are way better for you guys in the US if you're in the US. But for almost every other country, these prices are terrible because they're in USD. So you got a Scrubland coming in at lightly played $352 and near mint for $407. Tropical Island coming in for lightly played 459. 16 listings. That's a pretty big number compared to what it was in the last couple of weeks. Underground Sea, damage 554. No, lightly played 675. Not too bad. And a Volcanic Island still going pretty solid. Not many of these around, so this is actually one that is uniquely pricing, stabilizing at a high level. Moderately played for $640. Now, another thing I want to look at was, and if I can find the right tab, don't think I got rid of it. No. Really? That's unfortunate. Let me see if I can get it back. Okay, so what was I going to show? I wanted to show the entire revised edition price and what it is now compared to what it was just a couple of months ago. And you can see the peaks in 2021 when everything went a bit crazy. And now we're sitting at $5,891, so broke the $6,000 mark. And you can see that the previous resistance was $4,709. And then the previous lowest point was $2,920 in April of 2020. So judging by all of this, we still have about, what is that, 25% draw? No, not 25%, probably about 15% drop. 20% drop to get down to from 5,800 to 4,700. And then you probably have another 50% drop after that to get down to 2,900-ish. Am I expecting that to happen? Not really. I'm expecting a base to be formed for the revised edition complete set for around about 4,700 and something dollars. But we're going to have to see, especially with all this mess that's coming out with the reprint and the celebration of the 30 years of Magic set, all those proxy cards with a bunch of dual lands coming in. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because while people might not pay for it, they might just proxy cards. And I've been proxying cards for a while, not dual lands and stuff like that, but I've been proxying cards to just do tests and trials, and most of my friends are happy with it. So it doesn't really change too much from my point of view. I think Wizards of the Coast has, in some ways, said proxying is completely normal, and we're not gonna look at you. We're not gonna say anything to ban proxying because we're making our own proxies and selling them for $9.99. So you guys can make your own for 10 cents, and there you go. You guys got to have proxy. So that's something to keep an eye on. I'm expecting the prices to probably keep going down until it hits a previous, I guess, resistance, which is around about $4,700. But is it going to act like a market? Maybe, but only if the market decides to do something weird as well. And right now, if we go to the market, we can see that they are not doing well. Now, this is on the daily. If I go to the monthly, clearly see a downward trend with a bit of a bounce on the 50 month moving average. Pretty good bounce, but rejected, still moving down. We're going to have to see how that one goes. Now, the previous time it did something like this, well, I mean, if I really want to say it, every single time it's done something like this in the last couple of years, it's just bounced off and gone straight to the moon. Now, is it going to do that again, or is it going to break this red line? I will keep you guys updated. I'm probably going to do these videos more commonly. I'm probably going to separate them out. I've said this before, but maybe I'll do something more daily for the markets and more weekly for Magic, and cover some other stuff alongside it, because this is starting to get very, very risky for the world as a whole. I guess that's that's the end result. Is it started off as Magic, kept a price on Magic, but the world as a whole is in trouble. We have a demand and supply issue, and the central banks around the world are trying to squash it with interest rate rises, which affect the people that need to borrow money and don't really affect the people that don't need to borrow money. So if people have been borrowing money to buy Magic cards, then they're going to be very heavily affected, but people like Rudy might not be. So we'll have to see how this all turns out, because in my mind, what I'm expecting is markets to keep going down, and then with a probably 1 to 2 year lag, house prices and other assets like cars going down, and then another 1 to 2 years lag on top of that, we're probably going to see prices move back up to a balanced level. We might see sideways movement for a very long time, because I think the Federal Reserve and central banks around the world, I don't know what changed. Well, I can go to conspiracy theories, but they seem to be wanting to get out of the market and stop babying it. And in the last 12 years, they were very heavily involved in the markets. The way that you know a good Federal Reserve chairman is if you don't know their name. And everyone in the world right now knows Jerome Powell, which means he's a terrible Federal Reserve chairman. But it just means that in the end, we're going to see this up and down movement for the markets, for the cards, for houses and stocks and cars and all that stuff, while people try to figure out what the real value of everything is. And it's been such a long time since we could actually figure out what the real value of things were. Especially in the last 2 years, impossible to figure it out. Moving over to what's happening with Liliana the Veil. Liliana, yeah, I feel like this is going to happen to a bunch of Lilianas. They are all going to probably get to the $40 mark at this point. Maybe not, I was going to say all of them, but Innistrad still has a certain amount of pull. But you can see that it's stabilizing, but at $65, there's a high chance that it can continue dropping for a lot of these. It's not like the supply was that limited in the first place. You got $36 for a Dominaria United Liliana. That isn't too bad, and that's $36 for foil. Like, Grandma Liliana, yeah, sure, 43 borderless foil. Yeah, you're going to have some big drops every now and then, but I'm just saying that Liliana probably still has a ways to go, and we're going to have to see how that turns out. Wedding announcement, on the other hand, still looks pretty good to me. I think it's going to roll over at some point, but it's sitting at $10.81. Very, very impressive. So, moving over to what's happening in modern. Doubling season down by 4%, now sitting at $89.99. Prince of Thralls sitting at $30, a 228% gain. Morophon the Boundless, a 7% gain to now set at $24.88. I probably don't need to go through all of these. Elder Scale Worm, $4.99, a 21% gain. I don't think I have that card. Teferi's Puzzle Box, $7.99, 11% gain. Nothing that's dropped really over 10%. Not many that have gained over 10%. So, not much happening there. The biggest drops over the All Form, a 16% drop to now set at $12.20. No one saw that coming, did they? Mystic Forge, a 16% drop to now set at $7. Biggest gains, Chromatic Ori, a much better Lotus, whatever that new Lotus card is. $28.84, a 10% gain. Hollowed Moonlight, a 50% gain to now sit at $4. Sovereign Console Flagship, an 18% gain to now sit at $5.27. And Malakir Rebirth, 11% gain to now sit at $4.49. Moving over to Legacy Fork, a 165% gain. Then again, a lot of these impossible to keep track of properly. But you do have movement of the unlimited dual lands. Like you got Scrubland moving up by 12%, Volcanic Island moving up by 6%. These are small enough gains that they are quite reasonable. Underground Sea, a 3% gain. On the other side, you got Tundra moving down by 9%, and you got Volcanic Island dropping down by 5%, and I said it's $733. So you can see the movements are there, and they're not insanely large. Now look at this, you got a Dark Pact that dropped by 82%. Now that's because the newly listed one is probably around about the $492 or whatever 82% of the previous week's was. But it's still interesting that there aren't that many gainers and there aren't that many losers. The prices at this point have really stabilized. Like a couple of months ago and last year, you would have seen 50%, 20%, 30%, and very little on the drops. Sometimes you'd see big drops and big gains. People just trading between each other. But now, very, very quiet. Look at this. So quiet. You got 0% gains as part of the daily winners for the vintage market. But for the legacy one, you got a bit more movement, but still nothing too crazy. You got some decent movements, but yeah, really nothing too crazy at all. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Like I said before, one of the main things to watch out for the next couple of days, the Federal Reserve's raised by another 75%. I think they're sitting at 4%, unless I've read the maths wrong. They are probably going to watch the next couple of indicators from the US side. So what are these? Let's have a look if I can get them to pop up. Nope. AUD/USD. Okay, sure. So you got the ISM manufacturing PMI that's coming up, and you got the unemployment rate. Okay, so tomorrow you get the unemployment rate. Previous was 3.5, forecast is 3.6. If we get a forecast that's 3.6 or higher, the market might actually be happy about unemployment going up. Now, the reason is the Federal Reserve wants to squish the unemployment balance, or the employment balance, where people just have too many jobs and they can ask for a lot of pay rises, and they don't like that. So if on the 4th something happens and this forecast comes out to 3.7 or 3.8 or even something, but if it goes to 3.5 or 3.4, oh boy, the market's going to fall even further. So check it out. Check out what is that? The Friday US time, so probably my time at like 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Have a look at what the forecast unemployment rate is, and you can probably determine what the market's going to do for the next month. As for us in Australia, really, there's not much we can do. We are hanging on to whatever the US wants us to do at this point. Look at the Australian dollar just taking a massive dive. It's almost embarrassing. Ugh. We're going back to the COVID lows. We're going back to, what is that, 2008. Ugh. Australian dollar is about as weak as it was in 2008. That is not a good sign. Did not realize how weak it was. So yeah, I think I was buying the Magic cards around about there, 3rd of August 2020, July. So it would have been at least $71 instead of the total crap we're at right now at 62 and probably going to drop down to 58. Yeah, this is not looking good. The DXY, on the other hand, showing plenty of strength. Another thing I did draw up, and I'm not too sure how easy it is to capture this, is if the DXY can get above this blue line and stay above it, get a proper bounce off that blue line, very, very bullish for the US dollar. I'm not 100% sure what would cause that, but I think I was talking about this many, many, many months ago. Man, I really wish I could go back into some of the videos where I might have mentioned that, hey, look, the dollar looks like it's going to get some super strength, and it got some super strength, and now it's actually surprising me even, because this line that I've drawn is the previous dollar's resistance line. It's hit that and then done a pretty big U-turn. This time, yeah, I'm not too sure. Like, it either breaks this line that I've drawn, or it just continues going up and the world is going to be messed up. So yeah, let's see if the dollar can hold this and keep it going. And if it does, then there's going to be a lot of crazy things happening over the next couple of months. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good day and see you next time.